Dear brothers and sisters, Saint Therese of the Child Jesus writes in her autobiography that at a point in her life, she was searching for the most effective way to grow in holiness. She was very conscious that she was very imperfect and could not do very great or extraordinary things for God. Now, this was at a time when the elevator or lift had just been invented and was gradually becoming popular in the homes of rich people, which would save them the effort of climbing the stairs. And so, in her own words, she was looking for an elevator to heaven, or the most easy and effective way to holiness. And as she went through the scriptures, she came across the beautiful passage from the prophet Isaiah, which we hear in today's first reading, where God is shown to be like a mother, full of tenderness and love, carrying her children on her lap. As we read in Isaiah chapter 66, verse 12 to 13, "As one whom a mother caresses, so will I comfort you. You shall be carried at the breasts, and upon the knees they shall caress you." Reading these words, Saint Therese received a powerful insight. She writes, "The elevator which must raise me to heaven is your arms, O Jesus. And for this, I had no need to grow up, but rather I had to remain little and become this more and more." Dear brothers and sisters, Saint Teresa had uncovered a powerful truth about our Christian life, which comes across also very strongly in today's gospel, wherein Jesus appoints his disciples and sends them out two by two to preach that the kingdom of God is at hand. At first glance, it may seem that the gospel message is meant for priests, religious, and full-time missionaries who can leave everything and go about preaching. But in reality, the gospel introduces us to the very heart of discipleship. And so, I would like to put forward a couple of points. The first, complete dependence on God. Dear brothers and sisters, our Christian life and mission is not primarily about running around and doing so many things, but it is about our relationship with God. We are called to belong completely to God and find our deepest sense of identity, the purpose and meaning of our life in God. In today's world, we see so many people who want to be known and recognized for their wealth, their accomplishments, their social connections, their abilities, and so on. In the midst of all this, in today's gospel, the Lord is sending out his disciples as sheep in the midst of wolves, asking them to carry nothing more than the bare minimum and go around from place to place. But is it really possible for us to do this? Carry no purse, no bag, no sandals is difficult for priests and religious. Then what about the rest of us? Men, women, youth, and children, with the pressures of work, studies, family, and social life? Dear brothers and sisters, the Lord is inviting us through the gospel to learn that to be his disciple means to rely on him, to depend on him completely, whatever our state of life. God calls different people to do this in different ways, but all of us, by our Christian vocation, are called to be with the Lord and be sent out on his mission. And therefore, all of us are the Lord's possession, and he will take care of us. Saint Teresa of the Child Jesus, whom we spoke about earlier, understood this very well. And thus, she, a nun who died at the age of 24 and who lived enclosed within her convent, became the worldwide patroness of missionaries. Reflecting on the same passage from Isaiah, in another place she writes, "Jesus does not demand great actions from us, but surrender and gratitude." Surrender and gratitude. So, dear brothers and sisters, in whatever circumstances of life we find ourselves in, and whether things are going well or badly, we can always practice this fundamental Christian spirituality, that of surrender and gratitude. Surrendering everything to the Lord and thanking him for all that we receive from him. Depending on God's providence also requires a detachment from worldly things. If we are to be like lambs in the midst of wolves, we have to take care not to get too entangled in the things of the world. Jesus wanted his disciples to be in the world, but not of the world. And so, it is good as we try to advance in our discipleship to make an effort to voluntarily deprive ourselves of some comforts. The person who lives in his comfort zone will never go out to preach the gospel. And this brings us to the second point, which is the necessity of proclaiming Jesus. Jesus sends his disciples out 2 by 2 to all the towns and places he himself was to visit. While ultimately it is God who reaches out to all people, he has given us the privilege of being his co-workers or his ambassadors. As such, the disciples in their mission have the full authority to represent Christ and to act in his name. As they enter each house, they are to say, "Peace to this house." They are to preach that the kingdom of God is near and to heal the sick in every place which welcomes them. In the first reading as well, the prophet Isaiah tells us of the Lord's desire to give peace flowing like a river to his people, to give them revival and joy. Dear brothers and sisters, today's world more than ever needs this message of peace, of renewal, and of joy. We cannot keep it to ourselves. Many of you would remember a few months ago when the newly elected Pope Leo came to the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. His first words to the world were, "Peace be with you all." These were the first words of the risen Jesus too, which he places on the lips of his disciples. As people who have encountered the Lord, let us not take lightly our responsibility to make Jesus known to others so that our brothers and sisters in the world may find peace and joy in him. In one of his documents, Pope Francis writes, "An evangelizing community knows that the Lord has taken the initiative. He has loved us first, and therefore we can move forward, boldly take the initiative, go out to others, seek those who have fallen away, stand at the crossroads and welcome the outcast." Let us try a little harder to take the first step and to become involved. The Gospel also tells us that the 72 disciples return rejoicing. They have experienced the Lord's power firsthand. Dear brothers and sisters, following Jesus is not easy, but it is the only way that will give us true and lasting joy. Depending on God completely and staying away from the world is very difficult. Evangelization in our context today is indeed very difficult. But if we choose to do as the Lord has told us, we are sure to have joy. While the disciples initially rejoice that even the devils submit to them in his name, the Lord tells them not to rejoice in this, but in the fact that their names are written in heaven. Often we are tempted to take pride in the many things we do for God or the church, or the spiritual gifts we have, or that we are such holy or good people in our own eyes or in the eyes of those around. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I wish to leave you with this thought that ultimately our greatest joy is in the fact that we belong to God, that we are precious to him, and he has loved us with an everlasting love. In the words of St. Paul in 2 Corinthians 5:14, the love of Christ urges us on.